Hello guys, welcome back to another live stream. Again, this is Stratus Forecast Weather. We're going over a severe weather outbreak across the Northeast. We are already seeing some crazy stuff going on already. We have a bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings in Maine and parts of the southern New England, including New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. A lot of these thunderstorms are already producing some pretty damaging wind gusts. This one has a 70 mile per hour wind gust possibility, and then we have a new tornado warning that has just been issued for parts of Hudson, Boston, and then a bunch of other severe thunderstorm warnings. And then we have this other mesoscale discussion. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, but I want to get straight to the coverage. So we have this line of thunderstorms that is developing, which was expected. It has been quite slow at the process, but it just recently really got going. We're starting to see it really starting to develop here. Um, but I want to start down here. So if we go down here, the severe thunderstorm watch is crazy. Actually, it expands from parts of northern Maine, western Maine, all the way down through parts of southern New England, down through parts of the Mid-Atlantic. It's literally insane. We'll start with this severe thunderstorm warning in Maine because I know I have a lot of viewers in Maine. We have the severe thunderstorm parts of Lewiston. This one is already looking to produce a pretty hefty damage with a pretty good bow echoing segment happening here. This one is warned for 60 mile per hour wind gusts. We'll take a look at the velocity real quick. Um, I'm not seeing a whole ton of what they're talking about, but they also have a different radar than me. So this is already starting to show back bow echoing. As you can see over here, you're starting to see this kind of turning. You're going to see this is starting to echo out. Let me pause this real quick. You're starting to see this is starting to echo out. Echo out. You see how it's getting that push straight to the east. This is a bow echoing segment, which means this is likely producing some pretty damaging wind gusts. This one is producing 60 mile per hour wind gusts. This line of thunderstorms is really starting to develop now. We have this other kind of thunderstorm over here down near Raymond, Maine. This one is one for 60 mile per hour wind gusts. As we go down here, we have a bunch of other severe thunderstorm warnings. A lot of these have actually been showing signs of rotation here. I think this one may even be trying to rotate. Whenever you get a bow echoing whenever you get a signature like that, like a hook echo, you can already see we're starting to see some rotation starting to develop. There's actually a few spots of rotation. But this one doesn't look overly concerning, but this is part of the reason they really took away the tornado possible label. Yeah, they have. I don't quite agree with that, but this one definitely has that tornado possible label because this one is definitely showing that sign. A lot of these are warned for severe thunderstorm warning, but they all have that tornado possible label because the environment today is just insane for this type of stuff. So if we look at reflectivity, I'm seeing a few spots here that could be causing some rotation. But as we keep on going down here, you can see here this entire line of thunderstorms, which looks pretty impressive, I won't lie. This one's probably got some, pockets of pretty damaging wind gusts here. We're seeing wind gusts in excess of 50 to 60 miles per hour. In some cases, even closer to 70 miles per hour I'm seeing here. If we just keep on going here, I mean, this is quite literally insane. But let's get back into Maine, where this is all happening. So, reflectivity here. So we're starting to see this line of thunderstorms, which this was the model indication of the thunderstorm line developing. I expect this to get a little bit more stronger and more intense. Like we could be dealing with some, I wouldn't say violent winds, but some pretty damaging wind gusts in excess of probably 50 to 70 miles per hour. I would not even be shocked if we hit 75 miles per hour, like they're hinting at, or higher, because the environment is just primed for it. And we're going to see this. I don't think this is going to blow out. We're definitely going to see a strong line of thunderstorms develop. And this is going to take a few more hours to get all the way down to the coastline, but this is definitely going to be a close one. We're likely to see some pretty intense thunderstorms developing, and we may even we have some convection happening from the south into the north here. You can see kind of these outer storms here. These are all coming from shore just because of how humid the air is. We're seeing some thunderstorms developing out ahead of it. That is the primary reason why there's a threat for tornadoes, because whenever you have like that and you have the wind shear that's capable of today, you're going to see some thunderstorms being able to produce, some tornadoes. So we're going to have to watch these other spots. I do not expect this to be a full-on tornado outbreak, but whenever you get a line of thunderstorms like this, there is always the potential for embedded rotation, also a QCLS setup, which basically means rotation inside of the line of thunderstorms, which we will see that. I'm just looking for spots right now. I'm not seeing a whole ton, but there is some broad areas of rotation near Poland where you see these two colors come together. This is winds going towards the radar and winds going away from the radar. Whenever you have this kind of happening, you get a signal that there might be some rotation there and potentially even a tornado. Now, the good thing is, since this is not really showing any signs of really strong rotation, we should not really have anything showing up on the correlation coefficient. Basically, what the correlation coefficient shows you is the debris in the atmosphere, what's being lifted up in the atmosphere and whatnot. I'm not seeing that, which is a good sign for now. But the main threat right now is for damaging wind gusts. Now you will also see some hail. The hail is also on the higher side today as well. Um, but if we keep on going down, there's this entire mesoscale discussion. Let me see here. So yeah, this is basically what we expected. This entire line of thunderstorms to just develop. We're a few hours away from this thing basically just kind of falling apart, but right now we're kind of in the peak of it, I think. But we are just waiting on this entire line of thunderstorms to just keep on going. So we'll just keep an eye on this. I'll keep an eye on this. So yeah, continuing on, I want to show you guys the mesoscale discussion. Let me get that real quick. Let me see if I got it. Oh yeah, I got a mesoscale discussion. They just released one. I want to make sure it's the right one first. Let me go to the Storm Prediction Center here and kind of look if they've got any new mesoscale discussion. No, they do not. Let me get the image real quick, and I'll show you guys the mesoscale discussion. Let me see here. There's that. Okay. All right. Here we go. Hold on. I gotta make sure this is the right one. All right. Perfect. All right. Here's the mesoscale discussion. I'll actually put this down here. I gotta make this a little bigger so I can see it. So this is the current mesoscale discussion that expands through parts of the I-95 corridor, including interior Maine, all the way down through parts of southern New England, and all the way down into actually, I'm not sure how much farther it goes, but the main threats today, probably the most significant one will be the winds, but there's also potential for up to EF2 tornadoes. So the tornado is expected to be at least 85 to 150 miles per hour. Remember, 85 miles per hour is right around that category. Sorry, not category. EF1 to EF2 here. Here we go. The damaging winds would be the next violent thing today, most likely. And you can see how it's developing, just an entire line of thunderstorms with potential of up to 55 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts and hail in excess of 1 inch or greater, that is a quarter size or greater. I'll get that out of the way now. That's actually, I want to make sure you guys are able to see this. Oh, let me make sure this is kind of where you guys can see it. Whoops. There we go. All right, continuing on. Let me see. All right, continuing on here. So, yeah, this line of thunderstorms is really starting to develop now. Um, I'm seeing quite the strong line of thunderstorms. Now, here's the thing from the actual weather models themselves, I was seeing purple in here. That doesn't mean we're not going to see that. Doesn't mean we're not going to see hail, but typically the models are way bullish and very strong severe thunderstorms, and that's what we're already seeing. We're already seeing a pretty intense line of thunderstorms developing. You can just see how strong it is. If I was using Radar Omega, which I'm not using right now, this would be very intense line of thunderstorms, and it already is looking to be that way. Like if you, I'm gonna get some webcams up because this is gonna be interesting. But first, I gotta do something real quick. I'll let you guys on that for a second. I gotta do something real quick. Um, all right, let me do. I'm trying to do something real quick. I'm gonna try to keep you guys as updated as I can. All right, here we go. Whoops. Okay, looks like we're good. All right, so I just want to. Okay, they actually just issued a special marine warning for parts of southern Maine, including parts of Long Island and places like that. What is this? I don't know what that is. Interesting. I'm not exactly sure why they warn us. Is there like some gusty winds in it? Not really, but there's. Let me see the special marine warning. Yeah, 40 knots and small hail is possible with this one. I don't think there's going to be a whole ton of lightning, but I do think there will be. Actually, there is lightning. There'll be a little bit of hail in there. Going down here to southern New England in Raymond. These are a bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings. I can already see a couple of areas of rotation, one near Derry. A few of the other ones, I'm not really sure if they're actually rotation, but there you go anyways. All right. Yeah, so, yeah, look how intense these thunderstorms are starting to develop. I don't think we're going to quite see anything like purple or anything like that, but we will see some stronger storms. This entire line of thunderstorms is likely producing damaging winds, 60 miles per hour, 60 miles per hour. This entire line is just producing very damaging wind gusts. We're likely to see probably through about I don't. So here's my theory. So there's a lot of if I go in satellite here and I go here, let me go. I need to take a look at the right one. If I go to blue, if I look at the normal satellite, so you can see all this over here. So this is all ocean influence, which means there is a lot of moisture in the atmosphere coming off the ocean. Hence the cold front dragging all that moisture inland. This is kind of how it works with winds as well. It brings winds off the ocean in windstorms in Maine. This is all just most likely fog, and what's going to happen is the only reason they have not expanded this any further is because once it gets to about just north of Ellsworth, it will likely fade because there's too much stable air from the fog. The fog is just going to just going to stabilize the atmosphere. But where this is the most likely area to see the most strongest storms is going to be anywhere pretty much Lincoln, Bangor, anything about that line north, or at least where the thunderstorms are. That's where you're going to see the most, at least most significant action as far as the thunderstorms. I wouldn't quite say violent, but it could be there. But in parts of down East Maine, I do not expect much. There's always the possibility that one of these cells could get down there, but I highly doubt that. But just expect, I think you're going to be fine if you're in down East Maine because these thunderstorms are just going to go into a very stable air mass. The fog and everything like that. That kind of just stabilizes the atmosphere. But it doesn't really make sense because there's already a lot of moisture. Yes, that's possible. What the other problem is when there's a lot of fog around, you don't really have time to destabilize the atmosphere and get sun involved. Because once you get sun involved, the dew points also rise, and that just unstabilizes the atmosphere to the point where you can just get thunderstorm action. So anywhere that you're seeing here, this is not fog. This is actually the thunderstorm in line itself. So what I'm saying is, I think they've done a pretty good job here of what the models are thinking too. Give me a second here. I think they're doing a pretty good job of what the models are thinking. They just actually ended a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of northern parts of this area over here near Paris, I think. So that's a good sign, but I think we're far from done. You can see this fog bank, and if I go with, if you just see it here, all this moisture is just rising, all it's just kind of sticking there. This is all fog. You can kind of see, yeah, they just got rid of that thunderstorm warning for Paris. This is all fog here, which means if this line of thunderstorms gets there, there's just no room for it to really develop further or maintain its intensity. So if it gets into this area, it's just going to likely fall apart. I think you'll get some heavy rain and potentially a few gusty winds, but I don't think it's going to be anything as strong as you're seeing over in the western half of the state. Over here, this is a different story. Yes, I understand it is the coastline and you would expect fog, but it's kind of different. So there is no fog happening here, which means this line of thunderstorms will likely make it down to the coastline. Only thing that might be interfering with it is daytime heating. Before too long, in the next couple of hours, the sun's going to start going down. And that's also just going to restabilize the atmosphere because there's no moisture for it to work with. The dew points will be high, I do think, but this actually, if we go all the way out, this line right here is associated with a cold front that is going to push all the muggy air out, and we're going to see probably the actual first. I know we saw a kind of fresher air, but this is really going to pull out the fresh air, and you're going to notice a major difference by tomorrow. It is going to feel like a completely new air mass. It is going to feel brand new, and high pressure will be involved. In the next couple of weeks, I think what's going to happen. Also, there's a little. We thought it was going to be a hurricane. This is down to a 20% chance because the models have been hinting at it falling apart, and that's what we're thinking is going to happen. Don't put that to your knowledge and just say, oh, okay, we're good, because you don't know with these systems. This system could develop and it could outrule every single one of the other hurricane models. And I don't see any hurricane models that are really suggesting that this will actually develop like the European and the GFS model. I don't see that happening again. But what's going to happen is this cold front gets through here, and we're going to see probably a few weeks, if not, probably 2 to 3 weeks bare maximum of just constant high pressure happening, especially across portions of the Northeast, Great Lakes region, potentially up into the northern plains. This is going to allow for just beautiful weather in the future. We will have some fronts kind of like, kind of similar to in the winter where you have a constant ridge of high pressure that builds a jet stream that kind of goes south like this. That allows for clippers to come through. It's kind of like a clipper. That's basically what it is. Just these other low pressure systems that come through to give us a little chance for rain. But this is going to be the most beneficial chance of rain that we've seen in a long time. As you all know, or you might have not even seen, we are in a severe drought that extends from down East Maine, eastern Maine, pretty much all of western Maine, and that is not a good thing. That's just because we have not seen rain in such a long time. This is going to give beneficial rain, and I guarantee you, any place that is seeing this right now is seeing it very heavy. These are likely torrential downpours. Like these pockets of darker red, this is likely torrential downpours. So not only is the temperature going to just drop dramatically, but the dew points are going to as well. But sometimes the dew points can stay, but it's all right. Anyways, continuing. This line of thunderstorms right here looks pretty significant to me. I'm not sure what the velocity is showing. I'm seeing some pockets of locally higher wind gusts. This is likely the gust front ahead of it. You can see kind of the higher numbers. Wait a minute. That almost Lincoln, um, Clinton. Let me see here. Yeah, that kind of. I don't think that's actually a tornado. I'm not seeing that. It's possible, but I don't think it is. I think it's just part of the line. But if we go back to velocity here, you can see the gust front where these wind gusts are locally higher ahead of it. This is likely the gust front. We're seeing wind gusts in excess of 40 to 50 miles per hour ahead of it. So that tells me that this line may get issued. I'm thinking probably not this line, but this line right here may get issued for either a severe thunderstorm warning or even a special weather statement for gusty winds and the thunderstorms. But if you're not getting that, you are getting a ton of lightning, like a ton of lightning. This line of thunderstorms is just overly energized with just an immense amount of lightning. 60 mile per hour gusts and under a quarter sized hail, but still some small hail possible. And this line of thunderstorms going through Raymond. This thunderstorm is moving to the east northeast, just like all the others. This one actually, hold on, that kind of looks suspicious to me. If I go, wait a minute, this could actually have some rotation in it. Okay, I think we're gonna have to watch this area near Gray, Maine. I'm seeing this kind of hook echo formation starting to happen. You can see a strong inflow here, but you got the outflow in the background. I do think there's potential for this to definitely develop. The rotation seems to be pretty broad, but you have, yeah, see the latest scan, it just brought these colors closer to each other, which is telling me the rotation is strengthening, the winds are getting stronger. I can't quite tell how strong this is going to be, but this definitely seems to be at least 30 miles per hour. I would not be surprised if this gets issued for at least a tornado warning. I wouldn't be shocked if this already has a tornado possible label on it, which it doesn't, which really shocks me because this looks to me like it's developing a hook echo. So you're gonna have to watch this one very closely. This other severe, this special marine warning also in effect for the outer islands of Maine and southern Maine, Harpswell. Just some gusty winds and small hail possible. All right, now we're gonna have to watch this entire line of thunderstorms. Moving on down here, this just looks like because this is not actually the radar. This kind of thunderstorm line looks to me like it's kind of fading away, kind of dissipating. I wonder if there's actually fog influencing it. Yeah, there's a ton of fog, which usually will restabilize the atmosphere. So that's that. Moving on here, down through Lexington. All right, whoops, wrong one. Down through Lexington, this one is going to be a significant, yeah, this one looks very strong. There's even black colors indicating potentially some large hail in here as well. Yeah, this one is one for 60 mile per hour and quarter-sized hail. It does look to me like there's a little bit of rotation happening on the front end of this, maybe not. Every time you get that formation like this, and you get an inflow like this, you're going to have to watch it because it can easily start rotating, and I think it's trying to. I just don't think anything's showing up, or maybe the radar's messed up or whatever, but this is definitely a sign of inflow happening, which means it's getting some air. Not a good sign for them. Moving on into parts of Massachusetts here, or I guess we were actually already in Massachusetts. This looks also to me like, yeah, anytime you get an inflow like this and you have kind of thunderstorm looking like this, you got to watch these little areas on the southeast corner of it, because there's not a whole ton of rotation, but there's a little bit happening. It's very broad. I don't think you're going to be able to see it very easy, but it will be kind of wider open since you're not in the middle of a thunderstorm if you're, say, over in Sutton. But I do think this area needs to watch it. That's why there is a tornado possible on this one, or at least I thought there was. But anyways, you're going to be getting 60 mile per hour gusts, quarter-sized hail, very heavy downpours, potentially even torrential downpours. Definitely one of those stronger thunderstorms. This kind of thunderstorm line looks to me like it's weakening a little bit, but it's still under severe thunderstorm warning for 60 mile per hour gusts and quarter-sized hail. And I really do not know why they issued this one for a tornado possible label on this. Oh, that's not good. This is not, I don't think this is anything like rotation, but actually it may, because this kind of looks like a hook echo to me. I'm trying to, let me see here. Let me see if this actually is a hook echo. It's possible it's a hook echo, but I can't really tell. But if I look at velocity here, you're going to see this pocket. Yeah, right here. This could be rotation, actually. So this is very violent winds likely ahead of here, between 60 and 70 miles per hour likely. and then on the other side of it's like 30 miles per hour. This could be trying to develop some rotation. I'm not quite sure yet. It shouldn't have a problem doing so because there's nothing really out of it, at least if I don't think. Yeah, I mean, there's some clouds, but I don't think that's. Oh, that's composite. I didn't even know that was a feature. Moving on here, there's that, but and by any means, that's still going to the severe thunderstorm watch. Moving on down here through parts of Wake Forest, Connecticut, East Haddam. Let me see here. This looks like a pretty good line of thunderstorms moving through. Looks like it's got some stronger winds on the back front of it. This looks also like it's kind of trying to fade away. I'm not exactly sure yet. Moving on here, we got a large marine weather statement for probably some strong thunderstorms, gusty winds, and very heavy downpours. Yeah, around 30 knot wind gusts, which I think is right around 37 miles per hour in actual wind gusts. And then that kind of goes all the way back through down here. We have a bunch of other severe thunderstorm warnings down across ports of New Jersey and Delaware and places like that. Moving on here, this looks like it might be developing a little bit of rotation to me. I'm not exactly sure, but it does kind of have that look to it. Moving on through parts of western Maine. Moving on back to this thunderstorm. Let me see how the latest scan looked. Yeah, that's developing a hookup right there, which means we need to watch that. I want to see if this next scan gives us a little bit of a tighter area of rotation. But moving on into parts of farther western Maine, we still have this extended line of thunderstorms that is moving to the south now, I believe. Because what happens is these storms kind of move to the north or move to the northeast, and then they get slammed down because it's you'll see what I mean. Maybe not so much, but it's definitely yep. It's gonna start moving to the west south. Sorry, west southwest a little bit. How do I say this? East southeast a little bit faster. Um, as the cold front comes through. Moving on into parts of northern Maine. Here we go. It looks to me just like some generalized thunderstorms. I don't think these are really gusty thunderstorms by any means. I do think there's a potential for these to be severe. But we'll have to see if that plays out. Moving down here. Yeah, ton of lightning here. Ton of lightning. Lewiston. This looks like a pretty chunky, good line of thunderstorms. I want to see the velocity on this one actually. Not really something impressive, but this is definitely one of those thunderstorm lines that you gotta watch because this looks like it could be a pretty intense line of thunderstorms. I really don't want to go all the way back there. That looks like a pretty intense little line of thunderstorms, kind of one where you would have a um, straight line winds, torrential downpours, and potentially even some hail. It's very possible. They just issued a new severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Raymond. I didn't realize that it flashes. This one might have been extent. Yeah, this is new towards Raymond. There's another area of um, stuff happening back here near Standish. This is for 60 mile per wind gusts, isn't it? Uh, this expires in 4 minutes, but maybe they updated that. I'm not sure. But by any means, yeah, okay. That's just an update. All right, fair enough. Oh, now this is just issued. Marine weather statement has been issued for all of the south coast, pretty much of Maine. This is for this line of thunderstorms moving south. This entire line. This is likely going to be. Let me see what it says here. Um, trying to look here. 30 knot wind gusts, and I would not be surprised if there's some small hail, even if it's not showing it. There's likely some hail in pockets of here because the atmosphere is just conducive of doing that. This line of thunderstorms to me looks like it's weakening, which is what you would expect as it's getting close to the coastline. We have a tornado warning here still. Has this just been issued? No, it hasn't, but let me see where the area of rotation is real quick. Let me see. I would be very cautious if you're in New Concord right now. It looks like we have a pocket of some locally higher wind gusts, potentially close to 50, even closer to 52 miles per hour, maybe even 53 miles per hour. I'd keep an eye on that. Let me get rid of that real quick. Still, this would be a thunderstorm warning in parts of Massachusetts. Looks like a pretty decent line of thunderstorms. This one is still one for 60 mile per wind gusts and quarter-sized hail for the next hour. Moving down here, just an entire line of thunderstorms. I want to do the composite radar so you can just see the whole thing. Here's the whole thing here, guys. Um, actually, that doesn't look. I'm not sure. Let me see what I can do here. Well, I'll talk about that later. Anyways, let me hide this real quick so I can do something. All right, we're back. All right, still watching this line of thunderstorms, like I said before. Um, hold on. All right, the good thing is we've avoided much of any serious tornado warning action here going on in parts of the state of Maine, so that's a good part. But I'm still having to watch these little chunks here and here that may have little sparks. But but I think we're doing pretty well here as far as rotation goes. It looks pretty weak rotation. Really, all that's in this line right now is probably some damaging wind gusts. Some of them could be more stronger than others, but this line is already starting to weaken as it moves to the south. Um, it looks to me like I don't know why the severe thunderstorm watch just got dismissed. That confuses me. Let me um, let me do something real quick. I don't know why the tornado watch got removed. Um, that's kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie. Um, that's extremely weird. Okay, there it is back. Maybe they were just updating it. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, this thing still expires in 3 hours. Back to the action here. I'm trying to see what the most significant thunderstorm is. There's a ooh, this one looks pretty good actually. So Lexington, Waltham, and Weston. I would seriously watch this line of thunderstorms. I would definitely bring your stuff inside and stay inside, potentially even away from windows, because this is definitely a blow echoing segment, which is telling me that this likely has some very damaging wind gusts in it. And I want to believe the velocity right now. Actually, yeah, that's pretty much what I expected. We have some pockets of potentially even close to 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and I would not be shocked if it goes higher. And behind the system, we have some pockets of potentially even close to 53 miles per hour, like I said before. Um, but you can see this blocking segment here through parts of this area. You can see that kind of moving through. This is all damaging winds within this thunderstorm. Okay, you're gonna have to just stay inside for a little while because this looks like a pretty nasty line of thunderstorms moving through. This likely has this will definitely potentially knock out power. I actually want to see how much people have lost power. That's actually a decent idea. I'm assuming most of it's going to be in southern Maine. Let me see here. Actually, that kind of shocks me. I didn't actually. I'll go New Hampshire here. Not a whole ton of people are without power. Give me a second. Hello? Alright, moving on here. So, I'm still watching this line of thunderstorms here down through parts of southern Maine. It still looks to me like the strongest line of thunderstorms is going to be moving through portions of southern Maine, including Lewiston. I would not be surprised if this area right here gets warned for at least some, gusty winds because this is a very strong line of thunderstorms, and yeah, this is probably going to get warned here. I'd like to take a look at the velocity real quick. Nothing really there, which actually surprises me because I would think it'd be there. Moving down through parts of southern New England, I would say just keep on watching this line of thunderstorms moving through Lexington here. If you're in this area, I would highly suggest going inside because this line of thunderstorms really looks significant right now. This looks very intense to me right now. Yeah, there's likely some pockets of potentially over 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts in here. Yeah. Oh, I just saw a pocket. I just saw a pocket of, well, maybe it was just 58 miles per hour. But if this is not quite damaging, but also the radar doesn't tell you everything, so this is likely producing some damaging wind gusts that are probably knocking down trees right now. And then you have this line of thunderstorms right here, this kind of little cluster of thunderstorms. We also have this interesting little bow echoing segment happening here. And then this is the areas you're going to watch right here. Southbridge, Woodstock, this kind of area you're going to watch for rotation here. I don't see much here, but you can see it's trying to kind of rotate a little bit, but it's very weak rotation. But this is kind of the areas that you would watch for that area of rotation because you see the inflow happening here, which means there's enough air circulating around the storm to make it rotate. Moving on here, we still have this special marine statement, or marine special weather statement, whatever you want to call it, for this entire line of thunderstorms moving through. Now, one thing I can't say for sure is but I think what's going to happen here is this line of thunderstorms, once it gets offshore, is likely just going to fizzle out because the satellite, yeah, there's too much fog, really. There's too much fog. That's also what's happening here in down East Maine. Um, Now, what's likely to happen is this fog will likely fade because the thunderstorm line is actually pushing it away. But the unfortunate part is, by the time that happens, this is going to be well past dark, which means there's no more instability for the thunderstorms to really work with, which means this thunderstorm line will likely fall apart. Now, say the thunderstorm line was already here, um, it would be already pushing that fog away, or the fog that's built up is just not going to have time to recover. The atmosphere won't have time to recover, which means this line of thunderstorms is just going to fade, really. This is a very intense line of thunderstorms moving through parts of southern Maine. This is probably the most intense line of thunderstorms I've seen in southern Maine in quite some time. And just to put you to perspective of how rare this event right now is, you do typically not see this type of severe thunderstorm activity in September. You usually see this type of activity usually July, August, and potential and parts of June. But for this to happen in September, it's very rare. But at the same time, there has been events where I think we've seen tornadoes in September. It gives me that feeling. But this line of thunderstorms does not look to me like it's going to produce a tornado. None of these lines really do. But there's a lot of convection happening here, which just tells you how conducive the atmosphere is, really. It's just producing so much dew point temperatures and stuff like that. There's so much humidity, and it's just developing just like that. Now, one thing I will say is this also is kind of screwing up the whole situation here. I think what's happening is why this is kind of starting to fall apart is just because there's so much convection happening. The convection happening, and all the convection is all of this thunderstorm activity ahead of it. I think this is just going to continue to fade this line of thunderstorms away. Now, I still do think this line of thunderstorms will at least make it to parts of Down East Maine, potentially Holden, Denham, Winterport, Bucksport, potentially. But we'll have to see what this convection out ahead of the line does. But I'm interested to see what happens with this line of thunderstorms when this convection is already here. But I do think this line of thunderstorms has a potential. It's starting to really develop that line. The one thing I'm noticing is it's starting to kind of weaken. You can see that over the last couple of frames. You can see how it got strong, real strong here. But then it kind of fades because I think what's happening is this convection out ahead of it is just making the atmosphere more stable. All right, that's the thunderstorm warning just got dismissed in parts of southern Maine. This would include Gray or places like that. That severe thunderstorm warning has been ended, which means you're no longer in a severe thunderstorm warning. I still expect heavy rain. There's a lot of rain behind this, so you're not quite done. It's going to be at least another hour, I think, before this thing's done and over with. But still watch this line of thunderstorms moving through Lewiston here right now, moving straight to the south, east-southeast. This looks like it's going to be warned. I do think this just gives me that feeling it's going to be warned. I want to see. I think there is some gusty winds within this line of thunderstorms. I think it's just purely just very torrential rain right now and lightning in there. But I do not see And then you get these black spots. I do think there's hail in this, which I don't know why it's not warned, to be honest with you. But as we continue, I mean, yeah, I think yeah, the convection is definitely affecting this entire line. It's just making it so that this line of thunderstorms is just fizzling out, really. The other spots to watch are in southern New England because this line of thunderstorms, there's not much convection happening ahead of this, which is very interesting to me, and I'm not sure why, but convection really never happens down here. You can see there is a little bit of convection, but this just tells me that there's a lot of humidity in the atmosphere. But as this moves, I don't think this has really the whole ton that's going to fade this line apart, really. I think this is going to remain strong for at least another couple of hours until night falls, but which is usually what happens in this part of the Northeast. But this entire line of thunderstorms, definitely watch this because this is definitely going to produce some damaging wind gusts. Just looking at the velocity here, I mean, it doesn't look overly impressive, which is interesting, but there is pockets in here of locally or higher wind gusts. It's mostly behind the storm, which is interesting, but there is some gusty winds at least, and there's some little tiny pockets of closer to 50-mile-per-hour gusts. That is enough for damage, but not extreme damage. And then this, and if I go up here, there's this interesting pocket, which really is interesting because it's only near Burlington, and I'm really there. We're even seeing the wind gust reading now closer to 60 miles per hour. I think this line of thunderstorms is just so strong. We're seeing some development behind it, which may come through. I think this may stay the same for a while because I don't think there's much that's going to influence this, to be honest with you. I don't really see that fading. Continuing on, just this line of thunderstorm, there's like three blocking segments and three strong line of thunderstorms that are across portions of the Northeast, and this is one of them. Just these very strong lines of thunderstorms. Yeah, it's just been marked there. This one has now been. There's been an extension of this severe thunderstorm warning into a special marine warning, which is basically just a severe thunderstorm warning just for the coastline. 40 knot winds and 55 to sorry 40 knot winds, which is basically around 47 miles per hour wind gust, which actually should be closer to 60 mile per hour wind gust because this is technically a severe thunderstorm warning. But look at this. This is impressive. I actually want to screenshot this because this is just really impressive to me. This is one of those. This is one of those buckling segments here, right in here. I mean, it's just so strong that it's just wrapping around, which means we have to watch this area, and I don't think this area has much of potential for tornadoes, but definitely watch this side of it because we see areas of rotation develop along this. But as you can see, right where this line of thunderstorms is, I think this velocity scan is actually back here. The velocities are weird for some reason, I'm not sure why, but this is likely happening right in the middle of everything. This is what happens. You have this very strong line of thunderstorms, and it's got energy, basically storm energy. It's got so much energy that it's literally wrapping around into portions of Billerica in places like that. There's so much energy and so much wind that it's just making the signature on radar. It's really impressive. It really is. And this is why I would watch this line of thunderstorms, because if you see something like this is basically a small derecho in a way. Only problem is that it's kind of started developing, which means it doesn't really meet the criteria of being a derecho. But this is technically a derecho. Remember, the definition of a derecho is you have to have at least 60 mile per hour gust or at least 50 mile per hour gust. The criteria for an actual severe thunderstorm warning over a solid, I think it's 200 miles. But like I said, that's just insane. Yep. Holy cow. Yeah, this is probably the most impressive, and you'll see it. I mean, like it's just wrapping around. I mean, look at this. It's just spinning like that. You can see it. See that? It's just spinning. That's just how powerful this line of thunderstorms is, and I really wish I had a webcam because you would see it. There's likely a mesocyclone right here, and there's likely just this insane structure going through Middleton, with a very, very damaging wind gust. Like, we're gonna see a pocket here, I think, of a lot of reports of damage from wind, but this is gonna be impressive. Moving up through, also, I want to mention this is likely producing higher than 60 mile per wind gust. This could be producing, I think, even over 65 mile per wind gust, just because this is a type of mesocyclone that would do that. So I would not be surprised if we get some reports of closer to 70 mile per wind gust, if not higher. Moving down through southern Maine now. Sorry, wrong one. Moving down through southern Maine. Yep, here we go. This line of thunderstorms is really starting to develop now. It's not as strong, and I think it's mostly because there's just too much convection out ahead of it that's affecting the entire thing, which really doesn't make sense, but that's just how it works. Moving through here, We are seeing a ton of convection. So yeah, I think the models were right about 20, pretty much 90% of this. I just don't think it's going to be able to hold that long as it's going south, east southeast. But I really do think this has the potential. So convection happening out ahead of it. Oh, actually, that's interesting. I'm now seeing sort of a similar thing happening here. I do think parts of Canaan, Skowhegan, and Norgewalk are seeing some damaging wind gusts here. Um, I think there's actually some damaging wind gusts happening with this line of thunderstorms, even though it doesn't seem intense. It's got that wrap around the same sort of thing, and you'll see what I mean here. This is likely some damaging wind gusts, if not gusty thunderstorms. You see that right there? It's all just bow echoing out, which means, yeah, that definitely tells me if you're anywhere in Skowhegan, Canaan, Cornville, Norgewalk, this is likely producing some damaging wind gusts. I'm gonna actually post this as well. This is kind of this is a mini derecho in a way. I don't know how long this is gonna hold together. Oh, I don't know how long this is gonna hold together, like I said before. But watch this area. Okay. I was just doing something. We're still watching this area. All right. I'll be right back. Sorry, I've been muted this entire time, but let me say this over again. Um, we're basically done and over with a severe thunderstorm threat for today in Maine. There's still the potential for some damaging gusts and gusty winds, but it's not more than that. 2% risk of tornadoes is still possible in southern Maine. Remember, this was drastically increased to about a 5% chance, and that 2% chance was pushed more to the northeast. Now, the only chance for tornadoes is going to be in southern New England, areas of extreme southern New Hampshire, east central, east central Massachusetts, northeastern parts of Connecticut, and a very small sliver of northwestern Rhode Island. And you can always see a tornado in the 2% risk, but anywhere in the 2% risk for tornadoes, especially if you're in Maine, is pretty much pretty close to a zero risk right now. I'd say even lower than a 2% risk, possibly a 1% risk. But you could always see a quick spin up, but I do not much see happening there. We'll get rid of that real quick. So yeah, I think the severe thunderstorm watch is likely going to be dismissed, but they're probably going to keep it up just due to the fact that there's still marginal risk of severe. They're much of at least interior Maine, and then there's obviously that slight risk that is still in place. Now remember, the slight risk of severe weather is still in place right now, basically because of there's still the potential. There's probably some wind shear in here. I wish I had the wind shear tracks like professional meteorologists have, but you could probably see the wind shear tracks. Again, wind shear. The entire reason why we saw this intense line of thunderstorms is actually because of the wind shear. The wind shear organized the thunderstorms into lines. That is why it's a line of thunderstorms. Moving down here into southern New England, Boston, still seeing this line of thunderstorms moving through. It's lost that kind of character of the characteristic of a bow echoing segment. It's kind of lost that, which kind of is what I expected. Now we're seeing actually a few actual excuse me, very intense line of thunderstorms actually. Parts of Rhode Island and even parts of Connecticut near Foster and Willingly, we're seeing two stronger line of thunderstorms. I don't think there's anything major in these. I mean, there's potential for some gusty winds, but I don't think it's crazy. Yeah, that's pretty much what I expected. Um, you would see more stronger winds in actual mesoscale convective system. Um, but this is where I expect the highest winds. You're seeing right ahead, right along basically the line of thunderstorms is these gusty winds. I highly doubt it's only 20 miles per hour. I would think it's probably a bit higher than that. Not even 30 miles per hour. I probably think it's even higher than that. Oh, actually, this is where we have to watch out. There's a little bit of, I'm seeing a little bit of a very small hook echo happening across portions of Norfolk. We're seeing a little bit of rotation here. You can see that rotation right here near Norfolk and Highland Lake. There's a little bit of rotation starting to happen here. I don't think there's anything on the ground. Actually, I changed my mind. There could be a little something on the ground here. Uh, I don't want to say it for sure unless if it's actually a confirmed tornado, but I'm going to announce this real quick. If you're in Norfolk, I would suggest going to a shelter, potentially, possibly even underground. It does look like there's a little of air rotation trying to develop here near Norfolk. So you can kind of see this little tiny area of rotation, this little tiny hook echo. And if you look at the velocity, it's not very tight. Well, now it actually got tighter. Highland Lake, you can see this kind of little area of rotation here where the greens and reds try to meet up. This is, again, this is likely rotation. And then there's actually a little bit of something happening here. I do think there is actually a tornado on the ground in Campbell Station, but I don't want to say it for sure. I don't want to say anything that's wrong, but I think there's actually a tornado here, and I don't think it's being severe warned. So I'm going to go ahead and make that announcement. I do think this is a confirmed tornado. We're seeing a little bit of rotation here, and I do think this is actually a tornado. There's a little bit of something there, and it's kind of right in the middle of nowhere. I do think that's a potential for a tornado. I do think if you're in Norfolk, I would highly suggest seeking shelter right now, even underground. There is likely a tornado on the ground. I believe this storm has been the same one capable of producing a tornado before in the last few hours. But I'm going to make that announcement right now. I would seek shelter. Let me see where that is again. It is in Norfolk, and this is in Connecticut, right? Yeah. Actually, I didn't see this other area conversion, so I'll take a look at that in a minute. This They just issued a severe thunderstorm warning that clearly looks like it's rotation to me, but I guess the National Weather Service can do what it wants. But that is definitely concerning if I've seen anything, which I have. Um, and what state, what town did it say again? Norfolk. Okay. How do you spell Massachusetts? I don't even know how. I definitely spelled that wrong. Oh well. I'm gonna have to make sure I circle that because it's kind of hard to see, but there's a little bit of area convergence. I'll do that real quick. Oh, shit. Excuse me. Okay. Whoops. There we go. All right. Yeah, that screams tornado to me. It just does. It screams tornado to me. I don't know how that isn't warned. The National Weather Service has done an okay job, but this stuff cannot be allowed. Yeah, see, near Cedar, this is starting to really rotate like crazy. And there, yeah. See what I meant? See, yeah. This is what I meant. This is what I've been talking about. The National Weather Service is doing an okay job, but these little events like this in the Northeast that you're not expected, these have got to be warned. These have got to be warned. I know you can't really see the rotation, but it's there. It's clear as day. It's actually right there. I can't tell if anything's on the ground, but there has to be. Because yeah, there's likely a tornado right there, and I want to see if there's any actual reports. Because let me take a look. I believe I have it. There it is. That is interesting. There's been no confirmed tornado reports. That's interesting because that looks like there's rotation. Well, if you're not seeing rotation, this entire line of thunderstorms is screaming damaging winds to me. 60-mile-per-hour gusts and 60-mile-per-hour gusts, and I beg to differ that it's not higher. So yeah, if you're in Norwood, Needham, anywhere near Wapple, please take shelter. Wapple, there's a potential rotating thunderstorm right west of you. Take shelter immediately. And if you're in parts of Needham or anywhere in this line of thunderstorms, please take shelter. Damaging winds and torrential downpours and lightning are all likely. Have they finally dismissed the severe thunderstorm watch? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they completely dropped the severe thunderstorm watch for Maine, which should have been done a long time ago, but it's okay. And I want to confirm that before I make that announcement real quick. I just want to make sure that's confirmed real quick. Okay, yeah, that's not legit. So, severe thunderstorm watch has now been dismissed for parts of Maine, not the entire state. Unfortunately, I still don't know what they're waiting for. But okay, all right. Severe thunderstorm watch. Uh, I'll just have to take a picture of this. Oh, let me get to it real quick. Let me do this. Okay. Okay. Whoops. There we go. Yep. It's not gonna be too much longer until this. I don't. I think Massachusetts is still gonna remain in a severe thunderstorm watch, just given how intense the thunderstorms are. But Maine, I think you're pretty much done and over with. I still think obviously there's potential, but it's not very high right now. Moving on. We'll do a little bit of coverage in Maine right now. So yeah, we're just seeing kind of a gusty line of thunderstorms moving through right now. I don't even want to take up the velocity because the velocity's done a pretty bad job today overall. But we're seeing some locally higher, stronger, intense thunderstorms happening in parts of eastern Maine actually right now. As we go into parts of southern New England here, yeah, this entire line of thunderstorms. I mean, just look at this thing. Wow. I mean, I don't even know what I'm saying. Wow, it doesn't look that crazy, but yeah, it's kind of like kind of a broken line of thunderstorms. You can just see it's this is likely a bunch of rain, if anything. I would really want to see the amount of rainfall that has come out of these things, which I'm gonna take a look at actually. I just want to see. Here we go. Storm total amount. Oh yeah, that's beneficial. I just want to see these pockets right here. Yeah, very beneficial. Potentially even up to 3 inches. How did this not get flood warned or flood watched? I think the National Weather Service is just lacking things today. I know it's drastically higher in parts of. I'll look up here too, actually. Yeah, beneficial rain up here, down here. Very beneficial rain. Look at this streak right here. That's crazy. Oh, didn't even realize that was on. 2 inches, even close to 3 inches in some spots. This streak, very beneficial rain. Very beneficial rain. I can't believe it's not higher because these thunderstorms just are so slow. I'm surprised it's not higher. Oh wow, I didn't even see this part. Yeah, we're having a pretty good streak happening here. 3 inches of rain down through southern Maine, 3 inches, very beneficial rain. But obviously not in all the spots that we need it. And we're not quite done with this either, but we're getting pretty close. Back to reflectivity. So yeah, beneficial rain. I want to see the latest drought monitor to see how okay. Yeah, there we go. I want to see here. It had to have been chopped off at least a little bit. How would they? Yeah, I don't think they've quite updated it yet. Yeah. Right now there's still a severe drought for interior Maine, down east Maine, southern Maine, parts of northern New Hampshire, northern Vermont. But still, I don't. I think they're gonna completely get rid of the abnormally dry thing for Massachusetts because there's just been so much rainfall today that there's no reason why they wouldn't. So yeah, actually, this is interesting. We're seeing little pockets of these lines of thunderstorms trying to poke through. Kind of a brief little line of thunderstorm, brief intensity, not damaging winds, gusty winds, and heavy downpours are possible. And this is not what you think it is. Okay, there's no damaging winds in here. It's all just normal heavy rain. You're all good, unless if I'm wrong. I mean, I can always take a look at another radar app, but I highly doubt I am. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, only pockets that I'm really watching are Augusta, Waterville, up in through portions of northern Maine, but that's no longer severe warned. Still parts of Massachusetts still need to watch because there's some intense thunderstorms moving through there with bow echo formations. Oh wait a minute, I need to take a look at something. I just noticed something on another radar app. If we there's actually an area of interest here. I think it's down near Boston. There's a little bit of an area of rotation that I saw. Yeah, the same one that I was talking about. Still don't know how this is not tornado warned. It really should be because there's definitely a rotation here. It's kind of broadening it out now, but that's okay. Yeah, there's still some area convergence. There's still a little bit of a bow echoing happening here. Nothing on velocity, but I do think there was at least a brief tornado there, if not damaging winds, most definitely. Okay. Um, Special marine warning still remains in effect for parts. Or is this? Yeah, special marine statement still remains in effect for pretty much the entire southern coast, discluding anything near Rockland. Severe thunderstorm warning still in effect for parts of offshore. Still have three special marine warnings for parts of southern New England, including Marshfield, Gloucester, and parts of Cohasset. This is just from this severe line of thunderstorms moving through. This will likely fade. I do think this actually has a chance to reach Providence, but we'll see how it does. The models do not have that happening. It has it falling apart, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'd like to see the dew points right now, which I'm going to take a look at right now, actually, because that'll tell me a lot. Let me take a look here. Okay, get rid of that. I need to look at temperatures. The temperatures are warmest near the coastline, especially in southern New England. Only problem is I don't really know. I think it's just too much cloud cover, if I'm being honest. Dew points. I'll take a look at that real quick. And where's the dew points? Where the heck is the dew points? There's the dew point. Dew points are very moist. Right where they are, right where the thunderstorms are right now, is where all the energy is. There's still a lot of energy in western Maine. Only problem is there's no ignition of anything because the cold front is no longer there. So yeah, there's that. Moving on. Um, I don't think I'm gonna stay alive for much longer. Yeah, they've cut it off now. Ooh, it's hot in here. Satellite imagery. Yeah, look at that. This entire line of thunderstorms. You can see. I'm gonna take a look at something because I guarantee you'll be able to see it. That's not the infrared imagery that I want. Dirty. There we go. Look at that. Look at this explosion. All these higher cloud tops. I actually want to see how high that is, honestly. Let me take a look at radar real quick. I want to see the higher cloud tops real quick. There should be enhanced echo tops. Look at that. Wow. Uh, 30 to 40,000 feet. These are strong thunderstorms. Very strong thunderstorms. Um, the cloud tops are likely less up here because there's not much more happening down here, but I'm gonna watch this area from now on because unless if something crazy happens in Maine, which I do not expect by any means, I think we're done and over with now. I think just some gusty winds are possible within this line, but nothing crazy. Maybe 20 to 30 miles per hour, but that's pretty much it, I would think. Um, Moving down here, still watching these line of thunderstorms. This still is an area of convergence to watch, and I really do not know why this is still not tornado warned because it doesn't look all that strong. But when I saw that couplet develop, still was not warned, and I don't know why it wasn't. Maybe I don't want tornado watcher warnings disabled. Did they even issue a tornado watch? No, they didn't. Okay, so yeah, still watch this area, and I don't know why this isn't warned for severe thunderstorm warning, because anything that has a bulletin segment like that screams severe thunderstorm warning to me. But anyways, yeah, honestly, there's not much more happening right now. New Hampshire, it's still, there's only a few thousand without power. Um, just a few, like 2,000, which is kind of surprising given how much damage I saw. And for some reason, North Carolina are the most out of states, and Pennsylvania, New Jersey, which makes literally no sense to me at all. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, moving on here. We'll see if anyone followed me. Okay, all right, moving on. What did? Okay, back to it. All right, I just want to hold on. Did they actually? Let me take. Oh, let me take a look at something to see if they actually now took. Where is it? Oh yeah, that right there. All right, I'm gonna see if they've actually removed the severe thunderstorm watch. Yeah. Okay. All right, Maine, you are now clear as far as severe thunderstorm go. The severe thunderstorm watch has been dropped. Just keep an eye out for those heavier downpours and gusty winds, but that's about it. Okay. All right. I'll just do this for a little bit longer. I'd say this line of thunderstorms is the last to it all. Um, I'd say this is pretty much done and over with, anyways. But the outlook has stayed the same, really. They haven't really changed a whole lot. I expect them to just drop the. Um, I think they're going to keep the slight risk down here. Oh, there's that. See, there's still this area of convergence, as I talked about before. There's still some. There was a tiny bit of rotation there. But keep watching out these systems. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go. I mean, this is pretty much done and over with situation now. But yeah. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, as always. And yeah, we will see you in the next live stream and the next weather videos that I do make. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. All right.